if they run it that way, yeah. If you don't bring Ari Emanuel in and you have Pat McAfee and all these guys, like I said, I think, look, Ari Emanuel doesn't have to be there all the time, but he needs to make appearances. For instance, and we talked about this already. To me, and again, this is just me and my thinking, which is more than likely 99% wrong in WWE world.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had the book, CM Punk loses, Cody loses, Roman Reigns and Randy Orton pull up together
Mm-hmm.
with Pat McAfee, with Paul Heyman, with Brock Lesnar, however you want to do this, the limo gets out, they get out, they're all kind of standing together, and you're like, oh my goodness, what is this? And then the last person that rises out of the limo is Ari Emanuel. First time you see him, people aren't going to know him, but that's why Paul Heyman needs to say, Mr. Emanuel, leader of TKO, welcome to the WWE. And Ari adjusts his tie, his little suit shirt. He walks in the back. He walks up to the gorilla position. He says, Mr. Paul Levesque, your duties tonight are no longer needed. TKO is taken over. Paul Heyman, the seat is yours. And you run this Raw like that.
Not bad.
SmackDown rolls around, and you do the same thing. But you
What
do
up?
whoever's
But
running
what?
that.
But
I don't
what?
know who's running that one though. I don't
But
know if it's
what about Nick
Michael
Aldis?
Hayes or whatever.
But what about
Oh
Nick
no.
Aldis and
Yes, yeah. But every time they go to make a decision, Pat McAfee or one of them guys are there. Where no. That's not W. It's not a WWE decision anymore. It's now a TKO decision, and TKO is going to tell you whatever, and that's official. And you start throwing everything back at them, just like what the NWO did, but not in a renegade response. This is in a methodical takeover because it's yours anyways. I'm not coming in to take over. It's mine. I'm just going to fix what the problem has been. Now you get rid of Triple H for a week, maybe two. You bring hardship on Cody, CM Punk, LA Knight, the Usos, whatever. You just make life hell for them, like what they did when the Authority with Stephanie and Triple H. It's nothing new. It's just different people running those situations. And then that is when you bring back maybe Stephanie and she's arguing with Ari Emanuel or Paul Heyman in the ring. And then Triple H makes the comeback. And then you start making the angle to where whatever it's going to be, we're going to fight for power at this pay-per-view or whatever. I would ultimately run it to try to get the War Games. So you got Team WWE versus Team TKO, because then you can join Raw and SmackDown together so that you could throw CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, the Usos, whatever, versus the Evil Empire.
I like it. I think that's a really clever way of doing it, and I think that's a clever way of them going ahead and, like you said, getting a little bit of that heat off of Triple H's back and allowing him to kind of like run with it, and at the same time bring in some faces and then hate TKO because people already hate TKO because they're already charging wazoo when it comes to the
Yeah.
ticket sales. So it's like
Yep.
if you want to go to any event, blame them.
And think
I
about this. Think about this. Pat McAfee said what? See, he said it as CM Punk. The reason people are saying it so much is because you're not that worth that. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
He said that the reason people think prices are so high because you're not worth paying that much to see.
My
You know what
question.
I'm saying? That's where TKO's part of it comes from. Is no, it's again. We talked about this a long. I feel like a couple weeks ago.
We have.
TKO thinks it's a talent issue. Talent thinks it's a TKO issue. This is just making itself, and organically, you tell Ari Emanuel, look, you're not going to like some of the things that are said, but we're gonna tear it down to the threads. We're gonna call you out, and then when you come in, just like what Pat McAfee's doing. There's no way you can tell me. And as a matter of fact, today Triple H reposted Pat McAfee saying that Cody broke into his place and tore it down. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is all part of the angle. Now, whether they go full bore into it or they just make it up until WrestleMania, we'll know. Because remember, if Randy Orton loses now, Pat McAfee can no longer show up at WWE.
Yeah, I don't see Cody
No.
winning, bro.
No, I don't. And again, the way they're building this up, they shouldn't win. The Evil Empire has to make the first strike. And then you build it back up from the bottom. That's the way, this works out. Again, if you're just trying to get to WrestleMania and make it go, then this stuff makes no sense. But if you continue it on and you build, and again, maybe Ari Emanuel's not the guy. Maybe they make it a TKO suit or whatever you want to do.
They bring The Rock.
There has to be a representation of TKO and Ari Emanuel. You could do the whole Randy Orton thing on the phone. What was that, Mr. Manuel? What do you want us to do? Okay, no problem. Paul, go to the ring. Mr. Manuel wants you. Tell them what Mr. Manuel wants. Okay, Paul Heyman goes to the ring. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman. TKO brings you whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got guys there in place that already hated that you can add to. Trick Williams, perfect person for Team TKO. Why? Because he's movie star ability. He's Hollywoodish. I would not. Well, we'll do this when we get into our picks. But it's got to be, and then, like you said, in order to fight the power has to be in power first. That's what you got to do if you want this to work. If not, then it's the same stuff. And again, you got the heat off of Triple H for 3 or 4 weeks leading up to WrestleMania, and it means nothing.
Now, question: if they go with the storyline that you say they might go, and it sounds really good, like people are saying, "Yo, Sean is already planning War Games already with this," and they still maintain the ticket sales this expensive, do you feel that they'll be able to win over the audience in order for them to still go ahead and now purchase these tickets? Because right now, the story is, hey, booking sucks. I'm not gonna. They're trying to blow this up as much as they could, and they're giving discounts here and there to try to make as much as they can from the tickets they weren't able to sell. But that's not gonna change the story. The fans are still not gonna pay a buku money for WrestleMania. They're not gonna pay for SummerSlam. They're not gonna pay for all that stuff. So will this storyline be enough to convince me and you, the Joe Schmo who is not rich, but we work hard and we make some bread, and then we're like, hey, I'm gonna save up to go to WrestleMania. I'm gonna save up and go to SummerSlam. I'm gonna save up and go to Survivor Series because the storyline makes sense and it's intriguing, and I think I'm bought in. Do you think this storyline will get the fans to do that if they keep everything the same, price is the same, and nothing's changed? Only that the storyline now goes like, hey, TKO's the evil empire.
Yes and no if you work it out. This is the only reason I say yes and no. Because when Vince did hike up, and again, he didn't hike him up as much. I'm not saying he hiked them up what TKO did. But during a time when he hiked them up for a WrestleMania, there was an organic movement going on. And I talked about this, and I joined, I looked it up, the Cajun Turnbuckle podcast to talk about WrestleMania 30.
Okay.
This was the WrestleMania that started the Yes movement. Well, the Yes movement was kind of going, but solidified it.
Mm-hmm.
So what did Vince and them do? They made the fans a part of it. And the fans flocked to it. They didn't mind that they put up the price. And again, not astronomical like what TKO's doing. So again, a little bit different. But ultimately, if you make the fans feel like, again, Pat McAfee on Friday night, think about this. He said, I'm going to help you fans out because CM Punk ain't going to do it for you. So I went to my sponsors, Dodge Trucks, and they're going to cover 25% of the tickets for you right now if you order tickets before the end of SmackDown.
Yeah, I saw that shit.
Now, what happens if other people decide to do that? For instance, this SmackDown, the first hour, 25% off brought to you by whatever, Jimmy John's. I don't know. And then, again, but you're getting sponsors and they'll be saying your name over and over. Again, more money for TKO, but technically you've lowered the prices 25%, even though the prices have been raised up 6,000%. So it doesn't really, but you think the fans are getting it. Now you do a match and you say, okay, Randy Orton and Roman Reigns versus CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. If Cody and CM Punk win, tickets for the summer tour go down to whatever. Or for all the events through the summer, go down to whatever pricing. Now you technically bring them down, but then you can technically raise them back up. So you can play with it, but I think if you can get the fans invested and they feel like they did, like when Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson, whatever you want to call them, became the Yes Movement, and they felt like they were a part of this, they will pay. Again, not these maybe astronomical prices they're doing there, but they'll pay a little more.
Yeah, I mean, look, when it comes to this WrestleMania, I think it's too late for people to buy tickets.
And
So I
also,
think
remember what No Doubt said, because now what are you doing? You're fighting the power. You're fighting TKO. I'm gonna be there to voice my displeasure with this, but you're really paying price for the tickets, right? I mean, it's like what was it when the A's were moving? Fans were like, "We're gonna show them. We're gonna sell out the stadium now, and we're gonna do a sit-in, and we'll stay in for an hour after the game ends." Okay, that's the most tickets of people that have ever been there.
and they eventually moved.
And they moved. So, but it's like, they felt like they were part of it. When you make people feel like they're into this, sometimes price doesn't mean as much as you think, because they feel like they're fighting for something. They're a part of this fight.
I
They're a
just,
part of this
I,
fight
I,
with WWE.
I just,
Although I will not be a part of this fight for a
yeah,
$25,000 front row seat. Ain't no damn way.
I just don't. I don't know which wrestling fan would feel that way. Like
Oh,
I wouldn't. I mean, I
dude,
love wrestling, but I'm
think
not
about
paying
this.
that buku money, no matter if I'm
The,
fighting
the,
the power. I'll
the
fight from home.
craziest